I see you shiver with anticipation.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
Tuesday night, Home Team Sports. I'm the Big Alboski, my boy Chris Vant. We're here to talk some sports with you guys tonight. If you want to chime in, just send me a text message or send me a message I can put up on the screen. But you have to be watching on YouTube in order to do that. So I can put your comment right up on the screen with us and we'll talk some sports. So, with that in mind, sir, let's jump right on in to the NBA playoffs, which we're down to those teams trying to get into the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. A lot of cool series going on, a lot of 2-2s, a couple of 3-1s. The Heat were up 2-0 on the Sixers. They came roaring back. Now it's 2-2. Game 5 tonight. You got lots of injuries, right? You talked about injuries in the chat. You said the guy from the Grizzlies,
John Morant,
is injured, right? The Heat don't have what's his name tonight?
Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry tonight. So that's the thing. My son and I talked about this many times at the beginning. It sucks that it seems like a lot recently, more than back in the 80s and 90s when we grew up watching Jordan and all that. It seems like a lot in recent years. The NBA playoffs was shaped by injuries. So, like, not necessarily the best team won, but the most healthy team.
Yeah.
You agree with that or no?
It's who has the better bench. Even like the Heat, they lost Lowry. He had a pretty good NBA season with them, but then he came back from injury, scored 0 points, was like 0 for 7. I mean, so I really don't think they really need him tonight to win. I just think Miami is so tough at home that the Sixers are going to need to complete game to win this game tonight.
Well, it's 2-2, and the home team has won, right? So
yeah, both.
Miami's home. So take that for what it's worth. But after what I've seen after I've seen what I can't even talk tonight. Sorry, everybody. After what I've seen from James Harden over the past couple of games, seems to tapped into a little bit of that James Harden of old. If he can keep that rolling, take a little bit of pressure off of Embiid. But Embiid also, I think Embiid's going to be a little angry tonight because he got snubbed, in my opinion. We'll talk about this later for the MVP thing. Don't you think that'll motivate him to say, oh, yeah, F you people, watch this?
I think it motivated him last game because he came out with 15 points in the first quarter, but then what? Would he have 9 the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Then he already knew at that point he was not going to be the MVP.
Right.
And he came out on fire and then they stopped going to it because Harden was hot. But I'm not going to count James Harden being hot all these games. This is second 30-point game since he's been with them?
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to pound it inside, give the guy his shots.
Yeah, and to me, and I was listening a lot to radio today, WIP was talking a lot about, in particular, Ike Reese was saying that people are talking about whether or not the Sixers are going to keep James Harden and they're going to offer him more money to stick around for another 3-4 years, whatever. He's saying that they need to win this year because of the way the playoffs have set up, the way certain teams have gone down, and that the rest of the field isn't as scary as it might be next year.
Yeah.
And that they have a chance. They can get past the Heat, and then they got the Eastern Conference Finals against probably Giannis and the Bucks. So, I mean,
I don't believe that. I think it's the Celtics.
Well, it could very well be. So either one of those teams they match up well against.
Yeah.
But last year they didn't even get that far because they got outed by the Atlanta Hawks. So if they somehow pull this one out against the number 1 seeded Heat, is it their championship to lose? Because when you get, then once you go against the West, you got Phoenix, you got Golden State. Like what?
I still like the Celtics with the way they play defense. I mean, they got Giannis tired. He sat the bench the last game in the fourth quarter. And the way that Al Horford just played last game, 30 points, 5 3-pointers. He held Giannis to 14 for 32. I just like the way the Celtics play defense. And now that they finally got Tatum going, it took 4 games to get him going. Hopefully him and Jaylen Brown can pull it together and just can take that.
Does Dallas have a chance against Phoenix? The series is up 2-2. Game 5 is tonight at 10.
With Luka, anything is possible. He's a game changer. But what did Chris Paul fouled out last game, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's 2-2. 2 at home for both of them. So it seems like that whoever is at home in Game 7, which I think it'll go to.
You think it'll go 7? You think
the
Suns and Mavericks will go 7?
Yeah, I think it'll go 7, and Phoenix will pull it out.
Okay. Bucks and Celtics are also 2-2. Game 5 is tomorrow night at 7. You like the Celtics. I like the Bucks. I do.
The Celtics got robbed in Game 3 with all those fouls. I mean, I like Giannis. But the way I played basketball my whole life, the way he bull rushes people and goes into the hoop, he doesn't back anybody in. He bull rushes you. And 90% of the time, it should be called an offensive foul. But they don't call it. I see it all the time. These guys are still, and he's charging into them, and they're not calling it. They're calling a block. And that's not the way basketball is played. You don't charge people. You back somebody in, you shoot the shot. He comes from the three-point line and bull rushes you.
Right.
And that's not the way basketball is played.
So we mentioned 6 of the 8 teams that are left, the other 2 being the Warriors and the Grizzlies. And the Warriors have all but wrapped up that series. Is 3-1 Golden State. And Game 5 is tomorrow night at 9:30. So there's your updated NBA playoffs right now. Everybody's 2-2 except the Warriors are 3-1 against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, the Grizzlies had a chance. They were up most of the game, and they just let down, and Steph Curry got hot late, and it's Steph Curry.
It's Steph Curry. Right.
Steph Curry.
He goes as far as they can carry him. Plus, you said now Memphis got hit with a big injury. So, I mean, that's the thing. You know, one of these guys goes down, like Embiid. When he went down, everybody was telling me it's over. It's over. Like when he, he had the concussion, he had the orbital bone thing. He wears the masks. They go down 0-2. I, like every other Sixers fan, thought, yep, I guess, better luck next year. Here we go. And then he comes back 8 days after concussion, comes back, does what he does, and they're right back in it. So this is awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, the Grizzlies might not be over
according
yet.
to you, we're losing tonight, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the Grizzlies might not be over yet. They were playing out without Morant last game, and they were still competitive and had a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still the NBA playoff.
Shit, we got a comment. Big Nick. What's up, Big Nick? Hey, guys, legit question. Do the Sixers have a shot to go to the finals?
Yes.
Chris Van.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if they played the way they played in Game 4, yes. Okay, yes.
They need to get back to the pick and roll.
And Maxey needs to wake up. What happened to Max? Maxey's kind of cooled down a little bit.
He's either really hot or really cold.
But that's what I'm saying. If you want to be a champion, you got to play like a champion. I mean, you got to put it all out there. Well, and he's a young kid. And he'll learn this. But, man, he's phenomenal. His ceiling is sky high, right?
Yeah.
So if he can get to that level or close to that level, you have those 3 guys working on, firing on all cylinders. You got Matisse Thybulle, you got the Green, the way Green's been playing. Like, all these things are kind of falling into place. And the bench hasn't been all that bad. All right? They haven't been terrible like they were in games 1 and 2. Games 3 and 4, they kind of came out of there. So, Big Nick, yes. Sixers.
You got to find a way to stop Jimmy Buckets.
Well, yeah, there's him.
Jimmy Bucket's been lighting it up.
Well, every time I watch one of these games, I look at him and I just picture him in a Sixers uniform. Thanks, Brett Brown.
I think he's going to have a big night. I think Abayu is finally going to have one of his best games of the series tonight.
Stop with that. My other team sucks this year. Lakers were hurt all season. I don't want to hear about the Lakers. Shut up. We're talking about the teams that are left. The good teams? Okay. So, speaking of the NBA, they're Big Chris. So, Nikola Jokic is the MVP, second straight year. I want you to give your thoughts on that, and then I'll give you mine.
I think it's well-deserved. He's the best center in the game. If I were to draft now, either Jokic or Giannis, I would take Jokic. He's a complete player. He's going to give you every night 25, maybe 15 and 6. He moves the ball. He's a passer. He can shoot free throws. He is more of a threat. You can stop Giannis.
Maybe.
But, yeah.
All right.
It's just if you get him on the free throw line, he's either really on or really off. But, I mean, if you could find a way to stop him, you can beat the Bucks. If you find a way to stop Jokic, you're not going to beat that team. He has other role players that'll step up, and he can just be an assist king and throw you 20 assists.
Okay, so we just talked about the 8 teams left in the NBA. Are the Denver Nuggets there? Because I missed it.
They're not there.
Exactly, they're not there.
But they weren't healthy.
So how is this clown the MVP of the league when his team is out in the first round?
Look at his stats.
That's fine. Stats are great. Stats are wonderful. Without them, Denver Nuggets would be awesome. But I think that this voting should not happen till the season's over. They do it too early. They do the regular season MVP because then you have the playoff MVP. Okay? Yeah. And the playoff MVP for most people is a whole, is a much better award. But in my book, they should do this. They should do the voting at the end of the season when the whole damn thing is over because this guy is great. I cannot disagree with that. I can't disagree with stats. Can't disagree with what he means to the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. What I can disagree with is that this guy is the MVP second straight by voting by, in my opinion, biased voting because they can't stand Embiid. They can't stand the Philadelphia 76ers. They can't stand the East Coast, period. And I'm talking the media. And on top of all that, they can't stand the process. The whole thing the Sixers did to get Embiid in the first place. So Embiid has been the villain in the entire whole situation, according to every other media out there that doesn't reside in Philadelphia. Because if you ask Philadelphia, of course they're going to be behind their guy.
Yeah. But it's still basketball. It's almost like boxing. You're the champ. You're the reigning MVP. You need to have a drastic season to knock off the MVP. As long as the MVP from the previous season has a great year like Jokic did, they're still looking at what he did the year before. He's still there. He's still putting up the same stats he did the year before. I mean, you literally need to have amazing 35, 15, and 6 average season to overtake that.
Right.
That's what they did with Giannis. For 2 years in a row, he won them.
4 straight years, it's been him
international
and this guy.
Yep.
It's been Greek Freak and Jokic. It's what it is.
I understand what you're saying, but it's every NBA, NHL, it's everything. It's all regular season. You have the regular season, and then you have the playoff guy.
Okay.
So, I mean, granted, they didn't go far in the playoffs, he still had a great regular season. I mean, voting should have been a little closer than really what it was, because MB had a great season. I'll give him credit for that.
And
But did he play enough games? Jokic plays every game just about.
He does, but to Embiid's credit, he did play like more games this season than he has his whole career.
Right.
Which is still not enough because, like you said, this guy played them all.
Yes. He pretty much plays every game, and he plays hurt.
He's a phenomenal athlete. Don't get me wrong. I want to see the guy get deep into the playoffs. So whatever Denver's doing, they got to build around them, whatever they got to do.
They are. They just need to stay healthy. When it comes to the playoffs, they're not healthy. And then, you fall because you're not healthy. Guys haven't been playing all year. You come into the playoffs with injuries, and it is what it is. Look at the first two games for the Sixers with that injury. Imagine if Embiid couldn't play the next two games. We might have had a sweep coming up.
Yeah.
Harden can hold his own, but
we're gonna switch gears to a little football now, and we're gonna talk about. We were talking about it pre-show, the USFL. We're gonna talk about the draft in a minute, so hold your horses on the draft, because last week we were supposed to talk about the draft, because it had just happened the weekend before. So we're gonna talk about the draft, the NFL draft tonight, but the USFL. When I first started watching it, when it first came out, I was intrigued. It was football, right? If you love football, you watch a little college on Saturday and you watch the NFL on Sunday, right? And then the NFL has their Super Bowl. The college has the bowl season. You have the national championship, and then it's all over. And then you're waiting till the NFL draft in April, and then baseball gets going, so you start watching that, but then you watch the NFL draft, as we all do. So to me, I think they should have started this season sooner, like maybe at the end of February, early March, because we were still kind of riding high off of, kind of aching for football. They wait till April, and they open up 4 weeks ago. So I started watching. I watched that first weekend a couple of games. The first game that they put out there was awesome. Okay, it was back and forth, like close score. It was fun to watch. Okay, but my problem with the USFL is after that week, I didn't really care to go back and watch it, especially because it's kind of lackluster. It's guys that didn't make the NFL or were cut from the NFL, or So it's, I kind of knew it was going to be like that, but I thought it might be a little better. And then the crowds are really, really small unless you're Birmingham, and they don't have that home field advantage thing where the teams all play in Birmingham, like the games are all played in the same place. Yeah. So, you don't have that, New York's playing Philly in Philly, this week, or Birmingham's playing, whoever in Pittsburgh. You don't have that home field advantage thing. And so it takes away from it. And to your point, what you said in the pre-show, you said the USFL, because they don't pay these guys enough, they can't afford to move them around. Okay, fine. But instead of having all the games in Alabama, instead of traveling all over the country, like maybe they could have traveled, like each team might have had its own venue, so to speak. So you know what I mean? They could have kept it close. They could have left it in the South, maybe Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia.
Yeah, move around a little bit.
Right.
Different stadiums.
Louisiana, they love football down there. They could have done that. And this is where I think that the XFL, which comes out in February, are going to watch this and see what they did wrong and not do that. And I think what Dwayne Johnson's already done is went to bed with the NFL and said, they want a working relationship with the NFL. So if players get cut from the NFL, they want to be able to sign them to the XFL. or if the NFL scouts are interested in an XFL star, they can work together almost like a minor league NFL.
Yeah.
So that's where the XFL might be exciting, because you might see guys who you like, particularly like, who you think, this guy belongs in the NFL. And then you watch him go there to, whatever team, and maybe it's your team. Maybe it's the Jets. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. I just saw him a couple weeks ago. I just saw him last season on the XFL, and here he is. The Jets picked him up as an unrestricted free agent. So that's going to be fun to see that dynamic. That's where the XFL failed years ago with Vince McMahon and Ebersol and all that nonsense. I think that this time they have a formula that works. But the USFL ratings are dropping every week.
Yeah, I think with the XFL, I think like they're going to get that partnership, and they're going to let these kids get their feet wet. And you're going to see a lot of these guys that play in the XFL go to the NFL, whether it's practice squad, second string, third string. The USFL had a draft. They drafted people, and it was only a certain amount of people you could pick in this draft.
Right.
Which most were unheard of.
Right.
They weren't even drafted in the draft or practice squad players, or they were just, it was like, how did they determine out of these, I think it was 350 people or something like, how do you determine these people are the people that can be drafted and that's it?
Right.
I think the XFL is going to take the guys that don't make it this year, don't make the practice squad possibly, but they're still great players and could possibly have a shot at playing in the NFL.
Yep.
And it'll make it more exciting to watch, because some of these guys, hence you had the Houston running back who was a practice squad player at one time.
Yep.
He became an awesome running back in the NFL. They didn't think he had a chance, put him on a practice squad. Next thing you know, he led the league in rushing.
So does that mean that the USFL is dead already?
Playing all the games in one stadium, yes. I see it. Yes.
If they move it, but I mean, if they make changes, the appropriate changes, I mean, they get, like I told you before, they get somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million viewers. That's about what like AEW Dynamite and Monday Night Raw gets. So it's worth keeping it on TV. But I think I don't see how they're making money.
I think they're one and done after now. They did it
so?
before, but after this year, I mean, ratings ain't going to cut it. You got to have ticket sales. You got to pay the players. How are you paying the players when there's only 100 people in the stands?
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I wanted it. I wanted it to work, and I didn't know what to expect, but it's not working. And they got to either fix it or it's going to die, like you said, after this season. It's going to be dead already.
Yeah. I'll still watch because it's still football.
Once the XFL starts next year, USFL is done. There you go. There you go. And I think that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is a smart man. He's a businessman. He probably has a team of like NFL minds, as many as he could scoop up.
Yeah.
In a room and just been working on this. That's why, because remember, they were going to launch this year.
Yeah.
And they pushed it back a year because they weren't ready. They knew the USFL was launching. They wanted to wait, and they wanted to like get all their eggs in a basket before they put out a product that we can be proud of or we can be interested in watching. And the way that I'm hearing it, they're going to start the very week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So like NFL season's over, you're dying for some more football, boom, XFL.
Yeah, and you got The Rock, who is almost a billionaire, and his partner there to put the money down. And I believe the XFL is not like the USFL. They do play home games and away games. And
they're gonna have home stadiums.
Yes.
And not to say they're gonna fill them, but I mean, I'm sure they'll have nice crowds.
Yeah.
I liked the XFL concept. It was mismanaged. I think this time it's going to be managed right. And they're going to see what these guys did wrong, and they're going to fix all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you got a former football player too in The Rock. So, I mean, he is. Vince McMahon was an icon. Don't get me wrong, but The Rock is way beyond that. So I believe that he is going to interact with the NFL, and a lot of these people want to come play there because they have a shot at possibly making it to the NFL.
All right, let's keep it on the NFL for a minute, and we'll talk about the winners and losers of the NFL draft. I want you to say your top 3 teams who won this draft and your bottom 3 teams who lost this draft.
Well, I'll go with my Jets, of course. I will go with the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants.
I can't argue with any of that. All right, what about your losers?
Losers? New England Patriots first, hands down. I'd say Chicago Bears because they gave no help to Justin Fields.
Nothing.
And
Jets won the draft.
I mean, the Lions really didn't help themselves out too much either. So
they never do.
Yeah,
it's amazing when you have all these top picks.
Yeah,
every year, them and Jacksonville and and Jacksonville didn't have that bad a draft. I'm just saying that every year it's like the top 3 or 4 or 5 teams are usually the same. I'm with you on the Giants and Ravens and Jets. I am. I'm with you on all 3 of those. I think the Raiders had a pretty damn good draft too.
Well, the Eagles with the big move, that definitely helps. You spent a lot of money on a guy who I don't think is going to be that good of a fit there. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to make him a
Which guy are we talking about?
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown?
I don't think
How is he not going to be a fit there?
Jalen Hurts is not a Ryan Tannehill. He is not going to give you 4,000 yards passing.
I understand that. But what is A.J. Brown's forte? Yards after the catch.
I just don't see it.
So what does that mean? That means Jalen Hurts doesn't have to throw him 40-yard bombs. He has to throw him 10-yard precision passes, easy, high percentage passes, 5-10 yards, and A.J. Brown will do the rest.
Yeah, but for that kind of money, you could have 3 quality receivers you could have got. The guy,
A.J. Brown, his ceiling is a top 5 wide receiver in the league.
Because of Ryan Tannehill.
You can't just say that because, if you put A.J. Brown with Brady, be the same thing. You put A.J. Brown with like a dozen or so quarterbacks in the league. You don't know what's going to happen with A.J. Hurts. That offense is going to be totally different than they had in Tennessee. They relied heavy on the run there with Henry. So they didn't ask Tannehill to do much. Tannehill's not a god.
He didn't need to because with the run, it opened up the pass.
And that's what they're going to do in Philadelphia.
No way.
Yes, that's what they're going to do in Philadelphia. That's exactly what they're doing.
You're going to have 1,000 or 1,500 yard back who's going to rush 40 times a game to open up?
No, they're not. They don't have a guy like him, okay?
Exactly.
Those are few and far between in the league. What I'm saying is their rushing offense as a whole was pretty damn good. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Add Jalen Hurts' rushes to that too because that counts, all right? So they have to be worried about that. And then, by the way, if you're worried about A.J. Brown on one side, who the hell is going to cover Devontae Smith on the other side? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're set up to look pretty damn good. And they released the NFL schedule. It doesn't look that hard, for the Eagles.
Well, that's why they play the game.
They made the playoffs. To me, they don't have a playoff caliber schedule. They play Jacksonville, they play Detroit, they play Chicago.
The only good thing is you play Danny Dimes twice and you play Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. Thank you. Exactly. Okay? That's 4 wins right there. We split with the Cowboys. That's 5. So give me 3 more. Detroit, Jacksonville, Chicago. That's 8.
Yeah.
The over-under for their wins is 8.5. I'm talking 9 or 10 wins.
I mean, I love Jalen Hurts because I'm an Oklahoma guy. He's not the answer there. It's his breakout season or nothing after this year.
I agree with everything you said about winners and losers within the draft. Detroit just seems to they do this every year. They have the wrong people picking. They need a strong GM down there. I think Jacksonville did okay for Dougie P down there because I think that they let him have a say in who was drafted, where most teams don't do that. Most teams go on a GM.
Yeah.
But I think Howie did make some moves. Besides A.J. Brown, I think they had a decent draft, the Eagles. I don't think that it was top 3, top 5 draft, but I think they were top 10.
It was okay. There was actually, I think, a Lions player that was drafted. He was the second guy drafted for them after Hudson, and he honestly said he did not want to be drafted by them.
And that's the thing. Nobody wants to be drafted by the Detroit Lions. It's like it's like your career's over. Where the Jets, they're building something. I think the Jets did a great job of putting the right pieces around Zach Wilson, and I think you guys are right. I can't argue with the fact that the Jets did awesome. Now put it all together. Now show me what you got.
Yeah,
because Buffalo's still good. Miami's still good. New England had a sucky draft, but they still got talent on that team. And you still got Bill Belichick. So
yeah, and Miami, Miami got Von Miller there and a few other guys. The East is going to be tough. The West is going to be tough.
The West
you're going to have
the West is the most stacked. The West is stacked.
You might need 12 wins to make the playoffs this year in the AFC.
In the West anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they beat up on each other.
You might need 12, 13 wins just to win that division.
Yeah, I hope they beat up on each other. I really do.
Everybody's stacked. Chargers, Raiders, Denver.
The Packers, what did they do, though? I mean, Aaron Rodgers can't be happy right now.
Yeah, but again, look at their competition. All right? Minnesota didn't have that great a draft. I mean, they still got Justin Jefferson. They still got this, that, and the other thing. They don't have much of a defense, though. Chicago is still rebuilding. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Detroit, as you said, still don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah.
Tennessee goes and drafts Malik Willis. So Tannehill's like, I'm nobody's mentor. So, I mean, that causes problems. Trust me, Carson Wentz, as soon as they drafted Jalen Hurts, it all went downhill from there as far as Carson Wentz goes. Let's see how he does for the Commanders. Woo!
I understand Tannehill because Tannehill is still a top 6-7 quarterback.
Okay.
And you got plenty of years to go yet. And it's like the scenario of Jordan Love going to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. He goes, yeah, I'm not going to mentor this guy. I still got plenty of years to go left. And you draft somebody in the first round? No.
We got one more NFL topic, and that would be breaking news. Tom Brady signed a $37 million per season contract with Fox to be the new NFL analyst for 10 years after he retires.
Yeah, that's insanity.
So here's my question. you.
I just lost it too.
Are we back?
Yep.
Okay. My point is, Aikman's gone, Joe Buck's gone from Fox, okay? So the top guy now, I would call Burkhart maybe for Fox. Play-by-play guy. So who do you put with Burkhart now until Tom Brady gets there? Because whoever that guy, it's not fair to that guy. He knows he's just holding the seat, keeping it warm for the great one. What do you think?
I mean, I got no idea. I mean, you're talking Aikman only makes $15 million a year. Now you're talking this guy making $37 million. We don't know anything about him. How he's going to be a commentator? Maybe you bring in Andrew Luck. Maybe you bring in Peyton Manning.
They already got Peyton. ESPN's got Peyton for the Manning brothers thing. That's a highly rated show. That's entertaining. Watching Monday Night Football with Peyton and Eli together, and then sometimes they have guests on there. That's hilarious. That's entertaining.
I want to know how much Chris Collinsworth is making for the USFL. How much is he making to announce that?
I don't know. But nobody watches it, so it doesn't matter. All right, but to me, I'm interested to see what this guy brings to the table. Is it worth $37 million? Because he's been that guy. Whenever he's in a press conference, he never says anything out of reach. He never makes any outlandish comments. He's always telling you what you want to hear. Okay? He's quiet. He's mild. He's, you know what I mean? You know, to many people, he's slightly arrogant, but he just, you know, if he's winning, he's smiling. If he's not winning, he's not smiling. You know, he never ever struck me as a guy who would love to be sitting in a broadcast booth calling the sport that he's loved his entire life and now can no longer play.
Okay, we didn't think Tony Romo would do that either. And he's the highest paid guy.
But the difference between Tony and Tom is Tony had a decent career. Tom had a great career.
Yes.
Tom had one of the greatest careers of all time.
But they're both quarterbacks, and they can play-by-play it because they've been in that position for so long, and they were that good at that position. That's why Tony Romo calls the play almost before it's actually going to happen. And 90% of the time, he's right.
Yeah, watching Peyton and Eli on it is. It's hilarious. But yeah, no. I like Tony. Like you said, he gets in the huddle. He can see the formation. So he tells Jim Nantz, he's like, you see that? This is going to be and he almost tells you who's going to get the ball before it actually gets passed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think Tom will do that too. I think Tom's ego will make it entertaining because he'll try to be the smartest guy in the room. All right. If he's doing it with Kenny Burkhart, he's going to make Kenny Burkhart sound like a moron. Okay. And, you know, and he's going to be a perfectionist about it.
But when is he going to do it? He plans on playing until he's 50.
Well, he says that. But
hey, who knows? It could be 6 years from now.
What if Tampa Bay doesn't make the playoffs this year?
They will.
I'm just giving you a scenario.
They will.
But what if they don't?
Well, I mean, it's up to him.
I mean, who's going to beat him in that division, right? New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. Who's going to beat him? No, none of them. You're right. They're going to make the playoffs just by winning the division.
But if he still can put up the numbers he puts up at his age and still leads the league in passing, the most touchdowns, he's going to stay and keep going as long as he keeps doing that.
All right, here's a better scenario. Say they win the South and they're in the first round, wild card round, and they lose. Then what?
I don't see him losing.
Well, I'm just that is something that could happen.
They should have made it.
The other thing I said,
One pass from the Super Bowl, and they would have won the Super Bowl. Right. Everybody knows that. It's just one pass.
I know.
So, I mean.
Well, the Rams won the Super Bowl this year, thank God. Yeah. So there it is.
The guy he's got talent around him. He's got a running game. He just sees the game better than any other quarterback.
Yeah, I think that he came back this year because he still thinks he's got one more championship. And how many more years is he going to fail at that before he gives it up?
I just think he's angry about not getting it last year.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that if he fails again.
Yeah, he might be done if he fails again. If he has a bad season or gets sacked a lot or gets injured, because, hey, you're that age, you can get injured any time on any hit.
Still, man, he walks away from the NFL already a rich man, and he has the kids, and he has Giselle, and he doesn't have to do shit. And he goes and signs this contract. Like, how much more money does he need? $37 million for 10 years.
He just wants to be around football. I have him owning a team one day.
How about coaching?
I don't know about coaching, but I see him owning a team one day.
Quarterback coach?
I don't think he'll settle for that.
They can't pay him enough.
No, I think he's going to own a franchise one day, and it could be the Buccaneers. Who knows?
Well, he could use this $370 million as a down payment, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to baseball. Should the Phillies fire Joe Girardi?
He shouldn't even have been a manager this year. I think they should have fired him after last year. But that's my view on it.
Explain why.
He is a decent coach. I just don't think he knows how to manage his players correctly. That's just when he has talent, he just doesn't know how to manage them the right way. In my view.
Here's the thing. He's not the guy that he was with the Yankees. Even though the Yankees had more talent and they had, Mariano Rivera finishing the games off. They had Mo at the end of every game. So basically, if you got them to the ninth inning with the lead, you were going to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Because Rivera wouldn't let you. Right. So he didn't really have to do much to motivate that team to be winners. They were all stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Then he goes to Florida, and he kind of turned them around, but not really. You could see that he wasn't as hungry is the word I might want to use as with the Yankees. Like, he just kind of was there. He took the money. He was like, I'll see what I can do. He made them relevant, but he didn't, make them in and out of the playoffs every damn time. So then he takes this deal with Philadelphia. Okay. And they already have, when he comes in, he already had Bryce Harper. And they have the pitchers that they have. And last year they had a lot of injuries. All right. And the starting five had a lot of injuries. The bullpen was terrible. So John Middleton went out and he bought some people. He bought Kyle Schwarber in. He bought Castellanos in. He bought in bullpen guys from all around the league. He bought in a closer. All right. But they're still in last place after 40 games. Why? Because he's soft.
Yeah.
Okay? He's not – he used to come out – when he was managing the Yankees, if there was a call that one of his players was pissed off about, he'd be out there.
Oh, yeah.
He'd get tossed out. He'd get in the guy's face. Like, his team respected him.
Yeah.
These guys don't respect him. Bryce Harper had to have a team-only meeting a couple of days ago, right before the Mets doubleheader. And they split that doubleheader. They won the first game, lost the second game. Okay. Then they won last night against Seattle. All right. He had a team-only meeting where he tried to motivate him. What does that tell you? It tells you that he thinks that Girardi's not doing his fucking job.
Yeah. Well, what are the series? Are they playing against good teams in the first half of the year, or I mean,
yeah, but they're losing to teams that they should beat. Like they should sweep. There's teams that they should sweep, not the Mets. I mean, yeah, the Mets. The Mets are the Mets. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So of course they could easily lose all their, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. Girardi doesn't have the passion like he did with the Yanks. Thank you, Jennifer. That's what I'm trying to say. No passion. He's soft. And the Phillies have all this talent. And if they don't do something now, if they wait till the All-Star break, it might be too late. Because then if they fire him, then whoever comes in here is going to come into, a whirlwind. It's going to take them a couple of months to get it under control. And by that time, they'll be too far out. You know what I mean?
Well, it's still early yet. I mean,
that's all I keep hearing. But no, it's never too early to get rid of this clown. He's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, they can still turn it around. What were we talking?
Hope so, but he's got to. I'm a Philly. You know me. I'm a diehard Phillies fan.
Yeah, we were talking.
He's got to go.
You said, I think if they got back to 10-10, didn't they get to 9-10 almost? They almost got back to 500 at one point. So they looked like they were doing something right, and then they just fell off again.
Yeah.
By the way, Miami
it started with, and then the Mets, right? They have a 7-1 lead on Thursday. Friday and Saturday's game was rained out. So they have a 7-run lead going into the 8th inning, and he brings in Norwood. Are you freaking kidding me? Bring in your closer and just shut the damn thing down. Or better yet, the guy who put them down 1-2-3 in the 8th, Familia, put him back out there.
Here's what I don't like.
It's his decision-making, Chris.
Yeah.
He's a moron.
Like that you don't need to bring in a closer just because it's 1 or 2 runs. You bring in a closer to win the game.
Finish it.
Regardless if you're up 6.
It doesn't have to be a save opportunity.
Yes. No save needed. Bring in to win the game. Bring in your best pitcher to ice the game. If your pitcher, I understand if he pitched the past 2 nights, maybe not your closer. But you bring in the best guy to win the game.
Knebel is 5 for 5, 6 for 6, whatever he is right now, and save opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joe's got it in. Joe's in his little notebook there, and he's like, well, I don't know. I used him 2 nights in a row. Maybe I shouldn't go to him yet. Maybe I should try Norwood. And Norwood goes up and gives 4 runs away. So now the Mets have momentum. So they're like, oh shit, now it's 7-4. No, it's 7-5. Let's bring in Knebel now. Let's get this done and over with. Then he gives up 3 runs. Next thing you know, it's 8-7.
Yeah. That must have been
Mets
tough.
Bring in their closer, game over.
Yeah, that was tough because I actually messaged you and I told you what a great game the Phillies were playing just to have it fall apart. That was,
And then Friday night, Saturday night rained out, so they had a doubleheader. On Sunday, they split the doubleheader, and then they went to the West. Now they're on a West Coast road trip, and they're playing Seattle, Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres. Okay, so they got to come back from this road trip at least, 500.
At least 500.
And I don't know if they're going to do it, but we'll see. I'm just sick of mediocre. I'm sick. They have all this talent. They should be right up there with the Mets, and they're not.
Well, they might find a way to mesh together and figure everything out. We don't know.
Speaking of the Mets and Yankees, I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. They're the top teams right now after 40 games in to the season. They're the top 2 teams in major leagues. Talent galore. Everybody's firing on all cylinders. The Mets at one point, the Yankees at one point were on like a 10 or 11 game winning streak. 11 game winning streak. Insane, crazy. And the Mets have a couple guys hurt, and they're still dominating.
Well, if the Yankees, if they stay healthy, they're going to be tough. But they never stay healthy. That's the issue with them.
Thing. Right.
So now,
imagine the Mets when they get DeGrom back.
Yeah, everything looks pretty now, but when injuries start taking tolls, it's baseball. Anything can happen. It looks good right now. Hey, we're so good right now. We're doing this, and boom, a couple injuries. Next thing you know, middle of the pack.
Mets play small ball. All right. I watched that series. Mets play small ball. They're not swinging for the fences like the stupid Phillies all the time. They know how to get guys on base. That's what it is, just getting guys on base and then pop a base hit, pop another base hit. Next thing you know, you got 2 runs came in. Next inning, they do it again. Next inning, they do it again. Next thing you know, yeah, they have 6 or 7 runs.
Yeah,
and
they're
you're
hot
like,
right now.
it's just
But teams get cold, man.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I put that up there.
Both the New York teams doing really good right now.
Well, I mean, it's I put that up there for Anthony because he's gonna watch this later. The Yanks, there you go. We talked about the Yankees, Anthony.
Yeah, it's exciting to see both of those teams doing really good.
So one of the games against the Phillies that the Mets had, not this past series, but the one before that earlier in the year, the Mets no-hit the Phillies with 3 pitchers.
Yeah.
So they had, I forget the names of the pitchers, but they had like one guy pitched 7 innings, and then another guy pitched the 8th, and another guy pitched the 9th, and the Phillies were no-hit. But the announcers really didn't talk about it like they do when a guy pitches a complete game no-hitter. So my question to you is, are no-hitters a lost start because of analytics? Because, there's pitch counts involved, and so managers are like pulling guys out when they get to a certain, depending on what guy we're talking about, if he gets to 70, 80, 90 pitches, they're pulling him out, even if they're throwing a no-hitter. I think it was Scherzer.
I'm not sure. It's just, I mean, we don't have that many dominant pitchers still around anymore. And
but Scherzer, I think Scherzer should have been left in the game so he could see if he got that no-hitter.
But what was his pitch count? That's the thing. They don't want a pitcher early in the season. At that point,
it was I think it was in the 80s.
Yeah, it's too early in the season to have a pitcher throwing that many pitches. We don't have the Nolan Ryans where a 200 pitch no hitter happens anymore.
That's my point. I miss that kind of stuff.
They manage the guys so they don't get themselves hurt by throwing so many pitches.
Love the Yanks, but they're not equipped with weapons once injuries start. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you'll have a fly-by-night guy who just came up from the farm system or something like that might throw a no-hitter on his first or second start. But it's just when you got veteran pitchers and they're throwing 130 pitches through 7 or 8, you don't want to keep them in through the rest of the game to risk injury. I think that's why we don't have as many no-hitters anymore.
Yeah, and I just – my point to bringing it up is I miss it, because – I don't know if I think you're wrong when you say we don't have that many dominant pitchers. I mean, you could probably name 6 guys who you put them if you're playing against if I'm a opposing team and I'm playing against them, he's already intimidating before he comes onto the mound. We're talking Scherzer, we're talking Verlander, DeGrom, I guess. Maybe Wheeler if Wheeler gets back to that. Who's that guy for the Yankees?
Garrett Cole.
Get Cole. To me, those are guys that before they even step out there, you're already intimidated that, these are guys that are strikeout guys and, I just missed the no-hitter. There usually was like, wasn't there like a stretch a couple years ago where there was like 2 or 3 in a row and everybody was like going crazy because they're like, oh my God, there was like 3 no-hitters like this week.
Yeah.
I love no-hitters, all right? A lot of people like home runs and, games that are 8-7, 10-8, things like that. I'm cool with the 2-1 or 2-0 game where the pitcher threw a no-hitter. That I love that.
It could also be the way the umpires are calling the games, balls and strikes, the way they're calling that.
Do you believe in that robot umpiring's coming?
I don't believe so, but
where they have the earpiece in there and basically the machine tells you whether it's a ball or strike. So all he's doing is making the call after he's told what it is.
I think that would ruin baseball. I mean, baseball has always been with umpires. I mean, there's always going to be bad calls on pitches. I mean,
It
it
would
is
take the
what it is.
humanity. To me, it would take the humanity out of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You already have instant replay, which they didn't have 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You already have instant replay, and you already have different things, different rule changes. I think they're going to make next year. They're making the bases wider, so that's going to change stealing and you know what I mean. So it's like,
yeah, the stealing, like you didn't have back in the day with the Hendersons, the Vince Colemans. These guys were stealing 80, 100, some bases. The average guy that leads the league is probably steals, 35, 40 bases in a year?
right.
It's just, I mean, it was part of the game. Now with all these rule
Man,
changes.
I used to love Ricky Henderson. Whenever he was on first base, the leads that he used to get.
Yeah, you're taking the benefits away from fast guys and stuff like that. Your leadoff hitter is supposed to get on and steal. He's supposed to get on to make it to second. A single turns into a double most of the time. Now you're trying to take all this away from the game. I hate all the changes that are going on. The instant replay I support because the refs make bad calls. I mean, it is what it is. To be able to challenge that,
especially when it comes to like fan interference, or if it hits the top of the fence and they can't tell whether it was a home run or not.
Yeah,
like stuff like that they should look at. Yeah,
it's in every sport though. They're making so many changes in every sport that it's tearing away from the game a little bit. I understand it's probably making the game a little better, but it's not the way we used to watch it. And I grew up watching everything without all the instant replay and everything like that. I mean, it's sports. People make bad decisions. They make wrong calls. It happens. It's part of the game.
That's the fun of sports, man. Like the humanity of it.
Yes.
When I listen to WIP all day, and a lot of times they talk about the humanity of sports. Referees making bad calls. It might piss us off, or it might change a bet you made, or it might, like, say it shaves points off the point spread. That's the real debate right there, because gambling has become such a big deal that a bad call in a baseball game could take a runoff.
Yeah.
Where you bet the over-under on the run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or in a football game, a meaningless touchdown at the end of the game is called back by a pass interference, because if they make that touchdown, they cover the spread.
Yeah. I wish I would have just put like $100 on that long shot for the Kentucky Derby. It would have been awesome.
Yeah, imagine that 80-1 shot. Kentucky. Yeah, that's cool that you brought that up, because I wasn't even thinking about that. Kentucky Derby was this past weekend, and I believe the horse's name was Rich Strike.
Yeah.
Won the Kentucky Derby 80-1 odds. I love baseball, but it's not fun to watch the same like when we were kids. I am going to a baseball game on May the 22nd against the Los Angeles Dodgers in Citizens Bank Park. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, I'll be on the beach. We're getting married on the beach May 22nd.
I know. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to Jennifer on that. And I wish you guys nothing but the best, of course. And I hope we get together and hang out when I come down to South Carolina in August.
Yep, we'll be there.
And little special announcement I wanted to throw out there is that tomorrow night's Spittin' with Spitter that he normally does on Wednesday nights, my brother TJ, you all know him and you love him. He's been back. He's been doing interviews. He had the coach from the Indiana Pacers, one of the assistant coaches of the Indiana Pacers, 2 weeks ago. And then last week, he had a very intriguing conversation with some friends of ours concerning addiction and a fundraiser that they were doing. So don't be afraid to subscribe to our channel. You'll get me and Chris and the guys whenever they come back, and you'll get Home Team Sports every Tuesday night at 7. You'll get Around the Turnbuckle every Sunday night at 6 o'clock with me and the professor. interviewing wrestlers from locally around here. Always a pleasure and always fun to do that. Every Sunday at 6. Next week, I'm on vacation, so there's no show on Sunday for Around the Table, and there's no Home Team Sports next Tuesday. But tomorrow night, on a special edition of Spittin' with Spitter, me and TJ present Shooting the Shit with Alan Spit, which is a special show that me and TJ do once in a while. What's on his mind? What's on my mind? About the world in general. Okay? You never know what we're going to talk about. And if you've never seen an episode of Shooting the Shit, go on our website, go on our YouTube channel, and hit one of those episodes. You will laugh your ass off for a half hour, I guarantee it. So tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., live on this channel, TJ and I are going to be talking the NBA. We're going to be talking maybe a little politics. We're going to be talking my ring announcing debut.
There you go.
So if you want all that information, tune in tomorrow night, 8:30 on a special Spittin' with Spitter, Shooting the Shit with Alan Spit. That's me and my brother having a conversation. And you just never know what might come out of our mouths. So don't miss that. In the meantime, if you like our show, give us a like on the videos, give us a share, give us a subscribe, help us out, help us build our audience. All we do is come on here every week and talk sports. The guys are coming back, I promise. I talked to Adrian. His work schedule is going to open up. Adrian's coming back soon. Cousin Phil was supposed to be with us tonight, but he got held up. He'll be back soon. Anthony Joseph was sick, but he'll be back soon. So everybody's going to be coming back right around when we really start digging into that baseball season and we get deep, we get deep into it. And then next thing you know, man, we're going to be right back talking about preseason NFL and all that cool stuff. So guys, come with us every Tuesday night and check us out. We love talking sports and we love all your comments. Thanks to Jennifer for commenting. Thanks for Big Nick for commenting down there in Doylestown. Thank you down there in Kutztown. And we appreciate everybody that supports us. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. We are at, by the way, Chris, after slightly less than 2 years, we're at 300 subscribers right now. We had our 300th subscriber this past weekend, so I let TJ know. He's ecstatic. It's cool. We're not stopping until at least we get to 1,000, and then once we get to 1,000, hopefully it balloons up after that. But we're gonna keep promoting, keep doing stuff, talking wrestling on Sundays, talking sports on Tuesdays, and whatever TJ talks about on Wednesdays. So tune in tomorrow night, 8:30, and we'll see you then, man. Chris Vant, thanks, brother. I always appreciate you, man, coming in, because without you, you've kept Home Team Sports afloat since you joined us. Because I wouldn't have had a show. These guys got busy, and I know life happens, but man, hopefully we get the gang back together, because it's a lot more fun debating with different opinions than it is just you and I kind of bouncing off of each other. So it's a lot more fun when Adrian throws his 2 cents, or when Anthony, whatever comes out of his mouth, you never know. And then you got Cousin Phil, who's got this knowledge. It's all this knowledge he's got, man. I love it when he shares it. So he can't wait to come back. So I hope we see everybody next week. Same time, same channel. That's Chris Vant. I'm the Big Alboski. This was Home Team Sports, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep.